Hey. Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm JP Thong. I'm currently at Kechara Forest Retreat, Malaysia, and welcome to today's Thursday Paranormal Tales. As you can see today, we have Pastor Nirol. Unfortunately, the Kim couldn't make it today, but I'm very excited to have Pastor Nirol here because he has a lot of stories to share with us, and they're very, very exciting. I only heard a little bit. Okay, so thank you very much, Pastor Nirol, for joining us today. And I think we'll wait for everyone else to tune in before you start sharing. Yeah.
Okay.
So how was your day so far?
Good.
Yeah. We were doing pujas just now. Did you
Yes.
hear the Tara, our dog, barking away?
A lot, yes.
Do you know why?
She's probably barking at something.
what what may it be?
It could be a spirit.
Okay, yeah, because she was just barking incessantly. Yeah, and Pastor Shin said that she was just staring at nothing and just barking very loudly. I think for like half an hour.
Actually, that reminds me. There was one time when Rinpoche, I think towards the beginning of last year,
Uh-huh.
there was a,
A?
there was a period of time when Tara would literally just stare out and bark for no apparent reason. And we were all working in Ladrang at that time, so we were like wondering, what is she barking at? So some of us went out and tried to find what she was barking at. But almost every night at around, I think it was around 6:30
PM?
yeah, PM,
Okay.
she would just start barking. She would look out towards Wisdom Hall,
Uh-huh.
and she would just stand there and bark and bark and bark. And then it got to the point where, because it was happening every night, Rinpoche was like, we asked, Rinpoche heard it.
Yeah.
So Rinpoche said, so we were like, "What? We don't know why she keeps barking." We thought it was because Ramesh, our guard,
Yeah.
was taking Casper on his walk
Okay.
around KFR.
Yeah.
So she was probably barking at Casper. But then we realized that the timing didn't match because Casper is on his walk at a later time.
Mm-hmm.
And so it happened again, and then we were with Rinpoche when it happened. And then Rinpoche said, "Oh, don't worry about it. She's just barking at a friendly visitor who's come. She's just barking because she sees the visitor."
Okay. So Tara, our cute little dog, can see things. Okay, let's see who has tuned in here before we continue. Hi, Cochran. Hi, David Chu. Yin Ping, Aaron. Hello, Sharon, PB. Hi, Pastor Honey. Michael Lena Chong. Hello. Thank you very much for tuning in. Okay, so hi, Carmen. Wow, there's a lot of people tuning in right now. Okay, I think we can get started. So, I'm very excited to have Pastor Nirol here because, as I said earlier, I know that Pastor Nirol has a lot of paranormal experiences that he can actually share with us, and these are his personal experiences that he's had. So, when was the first time that you had your paranormal experience?
The first time was probably when I was around 7, 8 years old.
Okay.
We just moved houses.
Right.
We didn't move that far from the old house. It was just literally 5 minutes around the corner.
And where was this?
Where?
Yeah.
This was in the UK, in a town called Croydon, which is
Croydon,
south of London.
Mm-hmm.
It's very close to London.
Yeah.
And we just moved into the new house. And the house was basically... My parents bought it for a really cheap price. The reason being was the house was extremely run down.
Okay.
There was no furniture. I mean, there were even floorboards missing on the floor.
Wow.
That's how run down it was.
All right.
So it was probably about a week after we had literally moved into this new house. And I was quite excited because I had my own room.
Okay.
But it was a very, very... So at night, we didn't have heating or anything at that point because there was no central heating system in the house. So it was very, very cold.
Mm-hmm.
And my room is basically very small, and my bed was on one side of it was against the wall,
Okay.
and on the other side of it here was the door to the room. So at night we used to close the doors to keep the heat inside the room, so we didn't get too cold.
Mm-hmm.
And one night I was fast asleep, and then I just felt very, very cold, and I woke up, and I thought it was because we didn't have any heating and it was winter, and I thought I was just very, very cold. And then, it felt a weird type of cold. It wasn't a normal feeling cold. I don't know how to explain it. I just knew it wasn't a normal cold.
All right.
And so at that point, I was facing the wall. So I was trying to get back to sleep, and I couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was I turned around.
Mm.
And as I turned around, I saw this figure standing right by my bed.
Okay.
And it was a boy, probably around 15, 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't very tall, but he was average height. And he was just looking at me. And he was completely pale.
Okay. Could you see through him, or it was opaque?
To me, at that point, he was literally there. I thought someone was there.
Yeah, like a person was there?
A person.
Okay.
And he was very, very pale. Very, very white.
Okay.
And he had long blonde hair, but it was blonde to the point that it was almost white.
Okay.
But you knew that it was kind of supposed to be blonde, but kind of had been bleached. It looked like that.
Like a platinum.
Yeah, like
blonde.
a platinum blonde.
Okay.
And his eyes were a kind of bluish green, and it freaked me out because, I had just woken up and, I turned around and there's this person standing next to my bed. So I didn't know what to do at that point. So I literally pulled up my covers, turned around and curled into a ball.
Okay.
And a couple of minutes later, I didn't feel as cold. So then I kind of let the covers down, looked back over, and he wasn't there anymore. And this happened almost every single night. From thereafter, from the ages of about 7, 8, until about I was 14. Like clockwork, every single night this would happen.
And what do you do thereafter?
What I would do is, because my parents were Hindu and I knew some Hindu prayers, then short ones, then I would just start reciting prayers to the gods.
Okay.
When that happened. But then when I reached about 15, something strange happened, which is when I looked one day, I remember turning around and seeing him there, but I didn't get freaked out.
But this is every night, though.
It's every night.
Wow. And did you try to talk to him?
Between the ages of 7 and about 14, 15, no.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, when I didn't get freaked out, and I just looked at him, and when I looked at him and didn't react negatively, as in being scared of him or anything, he smiled. He smiled, and then for some reason I smiled back.
Okay.
And then he just kind of faded away.
Wow.
After that night, he didn't come as often, but he came every maybe 2 or 3, 4 months. And every time he came, he would smile, and I would smile back at him, and then he would just fade away.
Okay.
And this continued every night if I stayed at my parents' house, even when I was probably up into the ages of about 22, 23.
Oh, that's a long time.
And every time I would go back to my parents' house and stay the night there, I would stay in my room, and he would be there.
And did he try to communicate with you or touch you? Or
He didn't do anything like that.
Just stood there?
He just literally stood there, and he would smile.
Wow.
And then it was about the time when I was 22, 23, I was wondering what is causing this?
Yeah.
Why is he here?
Yeah.
Because at that point I had learned more about paranormal things, which we'll discuss later.
Okay.
And then I thought, where is he coming from? it turned out that literally 10 minutes down the road, there's actually a cemetery.
Okay.
Very, very close by. And if I went to school or I wanted to get the bus, you'd walk past it. But then I thought that the cemetery is about 10 minutes away. It's not that close, so I don't think he's coming from the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
So then I went to the local library, and there they had records of, the history of the area and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out that the area of Croydon, the town, used to be the cemetery for London.
Oh, the entire town.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when and this dates back to Anglo-Saxon Roman times.
Wow.
When people died in London, especially if they died of disease or whatever, they had to be taken very, very far away.
Okay.
And one of the places that they went was my town.
Okay.
And the whole entire town basically
Okay.
was like a big cemetery.
So what you're saying is that your house is actually built
Yes.
on a cemetery.
Yep.
Wow. So did you find out who this boy?
I didn't
is?
find out who it was at that time, but since I came to Kechara, because of my paranormal experiences, Rinpoche used to ask me what happened, what sort of experiences did you have?
Yeah.
So I told Rinpoche one day, and I remember very clearly, Rinpoche just out of the blue asked me, we were in a car, Pastor David was driving, Rinpoche was inside, I was in the back, and we were on our way back to Kefar, and Rinpoche just turned around to me and said, "Who's George?"
Who's George?
Who's George? And then I kind of just stared at Rinpoche, because the thing is, as I was growing up, when I would see him, because he wasn't familiar as in a friend, but he was familiar because I would see him every night.
Yeah.
So I gave him a name,
Mm-hmm.
and I named him George.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. So what did you say to Rinpoche?
So then I explained who George was,
Okay.
and then Rinpoche turned around to me and said, "Do you know why he came to visit you every night?" And I was like, I had no idea. I didn't have the foggiest idea of why he would come to visit me.
All right.
And Rinpoche said, "He's lonely. He's very, very lonely.
Okay.
So he just wants company."
Mm.
And because he kind of sensed that I was a little bit open to these things, he was kind of drawn towards me,
Okay.
which was why when he smiled, he would disappear, because his need for companionship or being close to somebody was fulfilled, because he
Mhm.
was happy that I smiled at him,
Mm-hmm.
which is the reason why he left.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay. So I guess that was his attachment,
Yeah.
perhaps, too. Yeah. Wow. Well, that's an amazing story. And that went on for what? Since you were 7 years old?
Yeah.
Every night?
Yeah, until about 14, 15, every night.
And you never spoke to him?
Oh no, at that point I was too scared. What was he wearing? Oh, he was wearing this kind of I wouldn't call it, it was like a very dark grey brown shirt and baggy trousers, but a very old, very dirty material.
Could you figure out which era? It was. Hello, I'm the one interviewing. We have this technician there behind, asking him questions. What is this?
I couldn't. I mean, very, very old. I mean, it wasn't like the
Anglo-Saxon times.
Probably around that there
Really?
or after that. Yeah.
That's strange because I've not seen. Well, the spirits that I've seen all wear normal clothes,
Yeah.
Modern day clothes. Except for that one lady with long hair that looked like those Chinese horror movies, with a white gown, long
Yeah.
hair,
Yeah.
pale. That was a scary bit. Okay, let's see. There are some questions here. Let me see. Okay, where is it? Ananda asks, can the spirits of the deceased talk to the beloved of the sorry? Can the spirits of the deceased talk to the beloved one in dreams, or they are able to use mind communication or telepathy? I can't speak today. I don't know why. To or are they able to use mind communication or telepathy? Would you like to explain?
Okay. If a person has passed away and the bardo period is over,
Yeah.
which is the intermediate state between rebirths,
Mhm.
is over, and the person has been reborn as a spirit.
Okay.
A spirit isn't bound by a physical body, so they can travel at the speed of thought, basically. Since they are not bound by a physical body, there are many ways in which they can communicate with you. One, they can literally, if they're powerful enough and they have this particular ability, they can literally talk to you in your head. So if you were thinking, if you were just sitting there, there's nobody around you, you just all of a sudden hear this voice, and it could be a spirit that you're hearing, and you could have a conversation with them in your head.
Have you had that experience before?
Yes.
You actually hear a voice?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
And then other ways in which they can communicate is through dreams, because our minds, when we're dreaming, is on a more subtler level.
Yeah.
So it's easier for them to make a connection to be able to communicate.
Yeah.
And then obviously, if people have certain psychic abilities, they can see a spirit or they can communicate like that. There are many, many different ways.
Yeah. So spirits of the deceased can talk to the beloved in the dream. Right?
If they have taken rebirth
In the spirit
realm.
In the spirit realm,
Right.
right? But that would be considered half possession, though, because they go inside of us, right? So if you do experience, your loved ones who has passed away, come back to you in a dream, it's a half possession for you. Okay, so it's not good news for you and for your loved ones, because number one, your chakras are opened for spirits to enter you, although they may not have taken full possession of you, where you lose total control of yourself. Like, in other words, you don't know what is happening. So, but if you don't do anything about it, it will eventually lead to that, which was what was happening to me. Remember my experiences that I shared?
Yeah.
And Rinpoche said that if I don't stop communicating with the spirits, that spirit that was entering my dreams every night for 2 weeks, that would not let me sleep, would actually be a full-blown possession. Yeah, and that I would lose control of my body, and that spirit would just take full control. So that's not good news. But for the spirit, it's actually stuck in the spirit realm. So your loved one actually, most likely, is because they could not let go of you all, and as a result, reincarnate in the spirit realm and keep coming back to visit. So as I said before, it's actually not good news, because see, just like this boy, because he's so lonely, and I am very sure that he, of course, is lonely because he's actually seen all his family members pass away through the years, and he's just left there. And just imagine, you're living for hundreds of years, and you're just wandering the streets, and everyone whom you know of have passed away. It's actually very, very lonely. So when you do get somebody like Pastor Nural, who can actually see them, and they know that you can actually either see them or sense them, they would actually come to you because they are very lonely, and they just need some sort of acknowledgement, which is what you said.
Right.
Because you smiled back, and that was good enough.
Yep.
And he just left because of that, right? See, yeah, because I do have people, friends say, what's wrong with being born in the spirit realm? I can always see my family, I can hang out with them. I say, yeah, but what happens after they pass away? Because because in the spirit realm, you can live, in human years for thousands of years.
Correct.
Yeah, so it's a lot of suffering. Yeah, so that's why we don't want to be born in the spirit realm. So, and Ananda also asked that yes, they can communicate and through, or wait, let me see, or they are able to use mind communication or telepathy.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we would term it as mind communication or telepathy. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So yes, they can communicate by such. Celeste, hi Celeste, thank you very much for tuning in. Did you ever try to touch this apparition?
No.
Why not?
At first, I was too scared,
Okay.
and then later on, when I was able to smile at him, he would just fade away too quickly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So no, but I have tried touching a spirit, because there was, I think, in one of my episodes I said that I was woken up by my bed shaking, and I thought it was an earthquake because I think more than 10 years ago, parts of Malaysia experienced a little bit of earthquake that came from Indonesia, I think, back then. So because my bed was shaking, and when I woke up, I saw a green blob pressing on, no, not a green blob, that thing was red actually, and it was just pressing on my mattress, and I was very fascinated. Yeah, but I wanted to stop. So what I did was I leaned over to my side table, my bedside table, but so my hand had to go past him. And that felt like water droplets. It's just that tingling sensation, almost like static.
Yeah.
Try it next time. It's like almost like static. It was just passing through like yeah, I don't know, like mist, like just water droplets. And I just grabbed my my amulet that my mom gave me back then. So it didn't work, but it was just something that I grabbed onto because I just want to experience, like experiment.
Yeah.
Whether or not it will chase it away, but it didn't. So yeah. So just in case, Celeste, if you're curious how it feels, like my experience is just like like mist. And Celeste asked, did did your parents or anyone else ever see him? This
No.
boy.
No.
It was just you.
My mum, she's also got abilities as well, and she's actually an energy healer.
What type of energy healer?
She does Reiki.
Okay.
And there is a system of energy healing coming from the Hindu tradition,
All right. Okay.
which uses prayer and mantra to, and she would know when things were around. So I remember her asking me once or twice, did you feel anything last night, or did you see anything? So, but being a young kid, for some reason I wanted to keep it a secret. So I didn't tell her until many years later when I went back home to stay with her. One day I remember her asking about my childhood, and then I told her, and she was like, "Oh, I thought something was happening," but it didn't feel bad.
Okay.
To
But
her.
has she seen it before?
She hasn't seen him before.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's strange. So I guess that spirit had some sort of an affinity with you, perhaps.
Probably.
Right? Okay. Right, so Jacinder Singh can get total number assistance, lottery number. Would you do that?
I would not do that.
Okay. Perhaps. Why not?
When you are working with spirits, because they are still bound within what the Buddhists call samsara, which means they still have wants, still have desires, they still have emotions.
Okay.
Nothing is for free.
Yep.
So they would want something back in return.
Okay.
If you're lucky, the spirit will tell you what they want. If you're unlucky, you're not going to know what the spirit will want, and then someday something most likely negative is going to happen to you.
Okay. So it's like payback time.
Payback time.
All right.
That's one. The other thing is when you do make connections with spirits, what happens is you open yourself more and more to them, to their presence, to their energy. And ultimately what will happen is, like we were talking about earlier, they will start to take possession.
Have you experienced that?
Possession?
Yeah.
Not spirit possession.
Not spirit possession.
Ah.
What other possessions?
Deity possession.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of deity
when I was
is this?
younger. It was our clan goddess.
What's a clan goddess?
Okay, within the Indian system, the Hindu system, there are many millions and millions of gods.
Okay.
So there is actually a hierarchy.
Okay.
So you have the highest gods, which is like
This
Krishna
is not
or
God
Shiva.
as in the Christian concept
the-
of God, right?
yeah.
God, it's not God the creator,
Not
but
the-
it's a
yeah.
but it's a deity.
A deity,
All
correct.
right.
And then you have under them,
Mhm.
so Krishna, Shiva, Ganesh. These are the highest of the highest gods in the god realm, basically.
Okay.
And then under them fall a hierarchy of gods that are supposed to govern or take care of particular things. And when you get to almost the lowest levels of the god realm, you have gods and goddesses who are take care of particular groups of people.
Okay.
Or the term is denoted as clan, but they're supposed to take care and guard and
Okay. So one of these
certain groups of
deities.
people. Yeah. So it's one of those deities that took trance of me when I was sleeping.
Why is that?
I have no idea. Well, I do. It runs in the family, but this can be
Okay.
another. And I have more stories about this one. Could be another one.
Okay. What? So you have a family of mediums? Is it what it is?
Yeah, you could say that.
Interesting. This is the first time I'm hearing this. Okay.
But she used to take trance when I was a small kid, and when I was sleeping again, and she used to sing. She used to sing hymns.
So were you conscious of this? So you were sleeping and you didn't know what happened.
No idea.
But then how would you know that
Because
you were?
she would sing very loudly. It would
And?
wake up my parents and my brother.
And they will tell you after
Yeah,
you wake up.
Yeah.
Interesting. And did they take any videos of you singing?
No, we didn't have a video camera back then.
Because it'd be interesting, right? Because I've not seen that before.
Mm.
And what, she would sing hymns, you were saying?
Yeah. She would sing hymns to the higher gods. Like she would sing hymns to Shiva, or Durga, or Kali.
How do you know that she was singing hymns to the higher gods?
That was because my parents would hear what she was singing when they came into my room, wondering what was happening. And she would be singing these hymns, and they because she would be singing in Sanskrit. My mother knows Sanskrit, so she would recognize the particular hymn or a phrase or whatever to the higher gods.
Okay. And what did she do when you were singing? Were you like standing up? Were you?
I
were you,
was
laying in bed.
I was literally just, if my parents said if I was sleeping, I'd just sit up and then I'd just start
Singing.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know about that. And then when you woke up, did you feel anything different?
Nothing.
No pain, no aches,
nothing.
no sores
Nothing.
anywhere? Okay. And can you still do that now?
No.
Okay. Okay. There are many questions. Hold on. Batku. Hi, Batku. Thank you very much for tuning in. Batku asks, can spirit recite mantras? Have you heard?
They can't recite mantras in the way that we recite them,
Mm-hmm.
but they can do mantras in their way of doing it, by repeating it in their mind.
In their mind.
And we know from Buddhism and from Rinpoche that spirits are attracted to Dharma items, holy places,
Yeah.
So I mean, you won't be able to see them, but the good ones who want to practice the Dharma or know that this is something beneficial will actually come to a holy place or a holy site to receive blessings. And they even go to Dharma teachings.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah. There are a lot. Not just spirits, even the deities.
Even the deities will come, yeah.
Yeah, they would come to listen to to a qualified Buddhist master give a discourse, and that's very common. Okay, let me see. Jacinder Singh, you mean protoplasma, residual of the capacity of the brain to project images. What's this?
Because I asked the question.
Technician asking a question here. Do spirits ever leave plasma? Ghostbusters or other substances in their wake after they've left? No, they do not. That
I wouldn't call it plasma,
I'm not
but
experienced that.
they can leave. I've experienced them leave like energy in a particular room that they've been in.
Like what? Like a
So, for example, if it's a negative spirit, if they were in a particular room or a particular building, there would be kind of a residual energy of a negative energy.
oh, you
left.
feel something.
Yeah.
That there was a presence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but nothing solid, like it as in Ghostbusters. Like that green blob,
Not the green
Burn
blob.
mark or something.
a burn mark.
Burn marks, yes.
I have not seen. You
Yeah,
have seen
yeah,
burn
yeah,
marks? Wow, see? He has a lot of stories to tell us. Yes, okay. Great. We will get there. Okay, Elaine. Hi, Elaine. Thank you very much for tuning in. It says, she says, does children inherit spirit senses from their parents? My mom can. My mom can, she says. So do children inherit spirit senses from their parents?
Yes, it can be hereditary. My mother is slightly psychic. Also, in my family, we have the hereditary thing of taking the trance of this particular goddess, who is
Okay.
a clan goddess. So that is kind of a hereditary thing.
Okay.
So yes, it can be passed on.
It can be passed
Yeah.
on, right? Okay. Ananda asks, why dabbling in the game of coin and dish spirit is not encouraged? Who are these spirits? Ouija board.
Ouija board.
Yes.
Okay, when you use things like Ouija boards, you do not know what type of spirit you're calling upon. And as a Ouija board itself is made specifically to communicate with a spirit. So if there are spirits around
Yeah.
and you start using a Ouija board or other methods of communication, it draws them like a magnet.
Yeah.
And and it draws everything,
Mhm.
whether it's good or bad or neutral. It would just draw them to this particular object because they know that they can communicate something through to a physical person.
Yeah.
And due to their attachments and things like that, which you've talked about, they really, really, really want something.
Some attention.
Some attention, or they want something. Somebody could, I don't know, really want. If there was if there was an example, if there was a spirit very attached to cake,
Yeah.
and then you're using a Ouija board or something, communication device, and it is so attached to cake, it will kind of come through and try to communicate with you, pretend to be somebody else or
Mhm.
something else to try and convince you to get it a slice of cake. Now, I'm using a slice of cake, it's comedic, I know, but it could be anything. It could
Okay.
be, yeah.
Well, because I used to play a lot of Ouija boards in school.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it was like a daily affair in school because and we even have Ouija board gatherings after school. Can you imagine? We'll go to each other's house, and we'll continue playing Ouija board, and that's really not good in hindsight. But we was just so fascinated with it because my helper taught me when I was a kid because I was really bored, and she's like, "Oh, why not teach you something?" And we use a glass and I thought she was pushing the glass, and it would just go crazy. And we would ask questions like, what's your name? How did you die? And things like that. And each spirit that would come through would give us like a different story.
Yeah.
And as kids, we found that fascinating,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then now that we know better, it's actually a portal for spirits to come through. That's why, and if we keep contacting them, the portal becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And as I said before in my previous episodes, as Rinpoche has told me, it's like opening your house, your main entrance to your house. So if your friendly neighbors come through, you're fine. But if you have somebody who wants to attack you, then you don't have the skills to protect yourself, and that's where all hell will break loose. Yeah, and that's what happened to me. Yeah, so that's why. So definitely don't do anything that allows you to communicate with the spirit realm, even with the deity realm. I wouldn't, because you don't know whether they're deities or whatever, because they are spirits that are very powerful, and they can manifest themselves as angels. Like tarot cards.
Yeah.
Right. You have like angels and what? Well, I only know of angel tarot cards. I think there's quite a lot.
There's many different forms of tarot.
Right. And that is actually a portal for spirits to come through. And I know it's very, very accurate. And I used to play with that as well. Because I love all these things. I used to. So no, I've stopped because when they come through, you're super busy and you don't want that. And when they start attacking you, it's no longer fun. Okay, so please don't do that. Clive. Hi, Clive. Thank you for tuning in. Clive asks, is deity possession considered some form of spirit possession?
I don't think you can.
It is a possession.
It's possession, but it is possession.
Yeah.
Where both of them are.
Yeah.
But obviously, the deity possession should be of a higher nature.
A higher nature, yeah. But both are considered possessions.
Correct.
Definitely a different type of energy. Definitely. It feels different.
Yep.
So if you ever encounter a deity in the formless realm, that means in the energy realm, as compared to as a spirit, if you can sense them, it's totally different energy. The deity realm energy that I've experienced, the vibration is much higher and very much overwhelming in that sense. It has that I don't know how to say it. It just feels huge, and the vibration is very. It's almost like an electrical magnetic wave in front of you, and it's just like buzzing away.
It's almost like when you're inside and it's really sunny outside, and you walk out, and there's that blast of that
something
sun,
like that. But it didn't give me that warmth though. It just gave me that very high frequency, right? But as compared to a spirit, it's very energy draining. It's very emotional, but it's usually negative emotions, and you just feel either the anger or the depression or the loneliness. It's just very negative emotions. That's my experience. Is that the same for you?
Yeah.
It's the first time I'm interviewing him, so yes. You see, and that's what I usually do, because I always check myself that, just to make sure that I'm not hallucinating, and that, that I'm not just making it up. Because I do have friends like Pastor Neural who are sensitive, and I always check with them. So how do you feel? What do you see? Just to make sure, because I question myself a lot.
Yeah.
Right? Because once you start seeing spirits, and I was like, why is the place so haunted all of a sudden?
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, so Ananda has more questions. I know a few friends who have the third eye. According to them, some spirits are headless. I've heard of that too. Thank goodness I've not seen them. One of them encountered a spirit but looked like a human on the train. A human on the train. Why do spirits come out at night? They disguise as humans and mix with the crowd?
Actually,
What's your take on that?
my take on that is actually spirits are around all the time.
Yeah.
It's that when I kind of guess that during the night, it's easier for people to perceive or see them.
Uh-huh.
And I never asked Rinpoche about it, but my kind of own understanding is during the day you're very busy with things. So at night your mind is kind of calmer in a sense. You don't have so many things running through your head.
Mm-hmm.
And if people are sensitive, when your kind of mind is calmer, you kind of automatically become more aware.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's why more people perceive things, beings during the night rather than the day.
Well, it's easier to see them because it's usually darker,
yeah, true.
right? Because with this, like, with these lights shining, there may be one staying right here, but because this is so much brighter,
Mm-hmm.
so you may be able to sense them, but you may not be able to see them as clear. Because I've experimented with that before.
Oh, you have?
I have. Because same thing with you, but again, I used to see spirits in my bedroom as well, and just standing right next to me when I'm sleeping and just looking down.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. And there was once where it's the same spirit that was pressing onto my mattress because my mattress was shaking, and I couldn't believe what I saw. So out of curiosity, I was like, I turned on the bedside lamp because my mom used to tell me, if you get a spirit disturbance, turn on the lights and they'll go away.
Mm.
So that's what I did. So I turned on the lights and I looked at it. I could see it still, but not as bright because of the light. Yeah, I could just see like a silhouette. Then when I turned it off, it was still there. Yeah, so it was more obvious when I turned it off. It was like it was just like a glowing blob.
Mm.
So I did experiment. So my experience is that they are all over the place, day and night.
Mm-hmm.
But visually, it's easier to see them at night because of what I just said. But definitely, they're not afraid of the light. They're not afraid of the sun. They're just all over the place.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. Dr. Hank. Hi, Dr. Hank. Dr. Hank asks, how to differentiate spirit or deity when we first meet them accidentally? Well, exactly what I said. You will feel a different energy.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Even if we see them, which I have on one occasion, which I didn't share with you all, I saw. This is when I've already joined Kechara and I was working for Rinpoche's private office, and there was one night. I was woken up again by a ball. There was this green ball, like a tennis ball,
Mm-hmm.
that flew into my room, and I woke up. And I was like, "Oh, that's strange. I've never seen a green ball in my room, and it was just hovering in front of me." And then I just stared at it, just to see, just to check out what it's all about. Then what I saw was that the green ball, like this, all of a sudden just opened up. It's like a sphere,
Mm-hmm.
but it opened up just a little bit, like halfway, and I could see the legs of a lion.
Oh.
Strange, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, is that our protector Dorje Shukden? because in Kechara we have this protective practice of a monk sitting on a snow lion. So when I saw this lion, and I saw somebody, riding on it. I was very excited
Mm-hmm.
because I was just introduced to practice. But then it closed, and it flew away. So I told Rinpoche about it, and Rinpoche asked me, and I asked Rinpoche, "Hey, this is what I saw, and do you think it was Dorje Shugden?" And Rinpoche said, "What do you think?" I said, "I don't know. It feels like Dorje Shugden." Then Rinpoche said, "Next time, if you want to be sure," he said that his teacher, his guru taught him, is you call upon that deity that you see
Mm-hmm.
and ask the deity to enter this being.
Mm-hmm.
Enter this being, and if what you see glows even brighter,
Yep.
then it is that deity. But if it goes away, it means that it was a spirit in disguise of that deity. Okay, and I asked Rinpoche, really? If I call upon Dorje Shugden, he would actually he would actually bother to come and enter this being? And Rinpoche said yes, because they are compassionate by nature, and out of compassion, they will come when we invoke their presence. Right? So yeah, so I've never seen that ball again. So next time if I do see any deity or that ball again, I would try. Okay. Yes, so yeah. So if you do see, holy beings, again, you can actually ask them to enter this being. So if you perhaps see Kuan Yin, who is the Buddha of compassion, you can say, "Kuan Yin, please enter this being." Yeah, or if you see, I don't know, like
Whichever.
whomever, right?
Yeah.
You just ask that being to enter, and then you see what happens, and if you do have that experience, do share with us. Kirsten, hi Kirsten. My mom can see ghosts. Will I inherit that later? I can sense those energies though, but I don't want to see them one day. How to avoid that? Well, you can't really avoid it. You can, if you can see ghosts, you will be able to see ghosts by now. Okay, so I would not I would not be frightened about it, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. It's only when they start to disturb you, Kirsten, that's where you need to purify that karma for it to disturb you. But otherwise, it's just that you're more sensitive to spirits, and that's it. Yeah. So again, like I say, do your protective practice. Do whatever religious practice you do, just do that diligently, and because you're invoking energies of compassion, of selflessness, and that itself is very powerful. And if you keep invoking those energies, and it is also a way for us to connect that energy that is residing in us. All of us are by nature compassionate. So when we recite these mantras, it's actually reconnecting with that Buddha nature in us, or the God spark in us, whatever you call it. It is that selfless nature of us. If you keep reconnecting to that part of us, then you will not be afraid. And a lot of times they will come and they will experience that wonderful energy of yours. Yeah. So, and they will definitely calm down. All right. So I would not be afraid. But then again, I guess you can't help it if you are afraid, right? You can't help it.
Yeah.
So when that happens, again, just recite your prayers and bless the spirit. Bless the spirit. It will definitely calm down. Okay? I hope that helps. Hi, Elaine Krause. Thank you very much for tuning in. Elaine says, hi, seems we're in the same gang. Yes. Jacinda. Okay, any more questions? Cynthia Lee. Hi, Cynthia. Okay, I used to play with tarot cards and angel cards. I don't anymore, but I still own those cards. Is it okay to just stash them aside, or better discard them? What do you think?
But I mean, you can keep them as long as you didn't have any funny experiences using them.
Mm-hmm.
If you had experiences using them and things you saw in the cards came true, or you heard things, or
Yeah.
you felt things around when you were using them, then your cards have actually turned into a portal already.
Yeah.
So in that case, it is better to get rid of them and not keep them around, because even a small portal like that can eventually lead to something bigger.
Mm-hmm. So how
so-
would you get rid of them?
How I got rid of my cards
Yeah.
was I tied a protector. I put them together
Uh-huh.
in a deck, and I
Okay.
tied a protector string around it, and I burnt it using some protector ice
Okay.
as well. Yeah.
All right.
Mm.
I hope that helps, Cynthia. So get rid of yours. Yeah, I think personally, I would do that too, because it is a portal. It is a gateway. So just because you may not experience anything paranormal right now, but then again, if your karma arises for you to experience, something will actually come through.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, something will come through, and then I'll be interviewing you here. All right. Okay, so Clive. So when there is a deity or spirit possession, where will the person's soul reside? Is he or she aware during that time?
That's a very good question.
Yes.
There are varying degrees of possession.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes when a spirit or even a deity will take possession, or in the deity's case, we'd call it a trance rather than possession.
Yeah.
The mind or the soul, you can call it, of a person, depending on the degree of possession, will
Mhm.
actually leave the body.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the spirit or the deity will be inside your body with you, so it's kind of turned half trance or half possession.
Yeah.
So that is also when you see people able to do things like channeling, is when it is kind of half-half.
Mm-hmm.
But in the case of full trance or full possession, the mind or the soul will leave the body completely. And it can go various places. In some traditions, if there's a medium,
Yeah.
how we term it, and they take trance or possession on a regular basis, in some traditions they will keep a particular object
Mm-hmm.
hidden away somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
and the mind or the soul of person will travel to that particular object and reside in it
Mm-hmm.
until the spirit or the deity has left their body. So in certain practices, this can be like a little pot, or usually some sort of container.
Mm-hmm.
But in some cases, it can be anything. It can be a doll, it can be a cup, it can be
Just anywhere.
anywhere. Yeah.
Okay, and is he or she aware during that time?
Again, it will depend on the degree of trance or possession.
Mm-hmm.
If it's, going up to like beginning to about halfway, just over halfway, then they will have some consciousness, because
Mhm.
the mind or soul hasn't left their body yet.
Yep.
And they will be able to remember things or see things or recognize things that happens.
Yeah.
But once the mind or the soul leaves the body completely, they won't have any idea of what's going on.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I hope that explains. Yeah. Bradley asks, hi Bradley, when you invoke Buddhas during prayers, what realm are you invoking them from?
What realm are you invoking them from?
Mhm.
You're not invoking them from any realm, you're invoking them from right here. Because a Buddha's mind is all-encompassing, which means a Buddha's mind actually exists in all realms.
Mm-hmm.
So when you invoke upon them, actually they're literally all around us, because due to their compassion, they're always around us.
Yeah.
But because due to our karma, our negative karma, and in some cases our positive karma, it
Mhm.
blocks them from being able to help us.
Mm-hmm.
So when you physically and verbally and mentally invoke upon a Buddha, you're allowing them that connection, that space to actually come and be more present in front of you, as it were.
Yeah.
More, so their energy can actually benefit you in a better way, in a more concentrated way, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Does that? I hope that helps. Yeah, Bradley. Kirsten, I dreamt of my late grandmother a few times, and she's always smiling. Looked young.
There could be a meaning to it. Obviously,
Uh-huh.
sorry, I don't have clairvoyance, so I wouldn't know at the exact. But it can be two things. It can be that these are just possibilities, okay? That perhaps your grandmother took rebirth as a spirit,
Yeah.
but she is not suffering that much, and she just wanted to communicate to you to let you know that she is okay, or that she just wanted to check up on you.
Yeah.
Another possibility, which would be more of a psychological possibility
Mhm.
of why your grandmother came to you in a dream, is because, and smiled at you, is because your relationship with your, sorry, what's the grandmother?
Grandmother. Yeah.
Your relationship with your grandmother was good when your grandmother passed away. Sometimes when people pass away, we, depending on the type of relationships we have with that person at that particular point,
Mm-hmm.
our mind can kind of manifest that within a particular dream. So in this case, the dream could mean that your relationship was actually very good, but your inability here to be able to speak with her or respond is kind of saying that she is no longer here.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't have that direct communication anymore.
Yeah.
So it can be from two possibilities. It can be from a paranormal possibility,
Yes.
but it can also be from a
A
psychological
psychological.
viewpoint. Yeah.
I think regardless, it'd be good if you can do prayers for your grandmother,
Oh, absolutely.
and so that she can, well, if she happens to be in the spirit realm, perhaps to actually, do prayers to shorten that duration
Yep.
in the spirit realm, so that she can take rebirth in the human realm again.
Yeah.
Right. I think regardless of whether it's psychological or be it real, that's what I would do. Yeah. So definitely you can do prayers to dedicate to her. Okay. So let's move along. Ananda, if we keep holy mantras or holy books around us, will the spirits able to enter a house? I'm told holy deities will be protecting us when there are holy books at home.
Okay.
What do you think?
Holy books are, as representations of the Dharma,
Mhm.
are very, very powerful.
Yeah.
Just like a Buddha statue or even a Buddha pendant or even a rue, they are very powerful,
Mhm.
and they can help to protect your house or your home from negative entities that want to come in. But again, here it is not just the power of the book itself. You have to take into consideration your own karma.
Yeah.
Sometimes what happens is when your karma is very strong, no matter what kind of items you have in your house, negative entities can still enter and can still disturb you if your
Mhm.
karma, your negative karma, is very, very, very strong.
I've experienced that.
And on the other hand, what you can do is,
Yeah.
if you do have statues or Dharma books and everything,
Mhm.
you can make sure that your daily practice is strong. You're doing it, you're engaging in it properly. Every now and then do retreats and everything. And when you do that, and when these objects are on your altar as your focal point, and you invoke the Buddhas into the book or the statue or the object itself becomes imbued with the power of the Buddhas. So
Mhm.
eventually this can be more powerful than your negative karma,
Mhm.
which will make a very big seal around your house or
Like a protection.
Like a protection, correct.
Yeah, but see, remember in a few episodes I was saying that if the friendly spirits come, it's fine, because they would usually gravitate around holy objects.
Right.
Be it your Buddha statue, be it your holy books, anything that's holy, because they find some sort of a relief from the holy energies.
Mhm.
Yeah. Just like how in Western countries, they always buy, a Buddha image and they put it in the home or in, not to pray, but just in the home, in the garden. Because why? Because people say, well, it denotes peace.
Yeah.
It has that energy for some reason. So same thing, spirits will actually feel that. So they would literally hover around these items.
Mhm.
Yeah. If they are evils, if they are evil, then definitely these holy items will repel them, right? Yeah, so that happens. But ultimately, if you are a spiritual, if you are a practitioner of any religion, then it will be advisable for you to do some sort of a protection prayer.
Mhm.
Yeah, for Buddhists like us, we do certain prayers or certain practices to purify our karma to be able to be hurt by these spirits. Okay, I think time's almost up. Just very quickly, we'll wrap up. There are just two last questions. Celeste, why do you think of people who are professional psychics who do psychic readings for a living? Or what do you think of people who are professional psychics who do psychic readings for a living? Aren't they in some manner connected to spirits? Is this always negative?
I do believe that there are professional psychics that do this, and yes, they can be helpful to people,
Mm-hmm.
usually because they're contacting the spirits of the dead who help, the living, you pass on messages so the living can move on.
Yeah.
Yes, they can be helpful. It depends on what kind of entity that they are contacting.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these people may even have a lower form of clairvoyance, so they're not actually using a spirit or a deity, but most of them are probably using a spirit or a deity. Depending on if it's a spirit or a deity, then it can be positive or negative. But in any case, what happens over time is you will, as they become more and more and more open to this particular being, you will see that it has a physical effect on them.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, they get sick,
Mm-hmm.
physically sick, because they are just constantly open and constantly communicating with a spirit or a deity, whether it be negative or positive.
Yeah.
It has a physical toll on them.
Mm.
And eventually people can even end up passing away because they've been doing it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So this is actually one thing some Rinpoche used to say, because this was something Rinpoche was interested in. He would
Yeah.
watch a lot of documentaries about it, do a lot of research about it. He said for what Rinpoche said is, from what he knows of all of this, if it's a person and they are doing that for real, whether it's positive or negative, they actually usually end up dying quite quickly.
Oh, okay.
Because it just has that such a physical effect on them.
Mm. Yeah, so that's the bad news. So my take on that is that there are people who do have a little bit of clairvoyance. Yeah, so it's not because they're invoking on spirits or deities to actually tell them what's happening with you and all that, but they do. It's part of them. But there are also certain psychics who actually get help from spirits and deities, and they actually tell them what you've done, what your future is like, and through telepathy, they will kind of get these information, and they're very, very accurate. So again, if it's the latter, which is connecting to the spirits, yeah, I would feel, or I've actually seen that these psychics actually get very, very burned out all the time, and when the negative karma opens up, that's where all hell breaks loose. Yeah, and I have seen that with with a very with a renowned, she's a world-renowned psychic who actually seeked help from Rinpoche, and I happened to be in the audience because I used to learn from her as well, right? And she was totally burned out, and she went and that holy being that used to teach her, to heal people, and she'd go around the world, healing people, and she's very, very famous. This holy being started to attack her. Yeah, and push her to a point that, and she said that it felt like that the thing wanted her to die. It was that violent. Yeah, so that's why Rinpoche said that, that's the thing, because we don't have the ability to check whether or not that holy being that we are connecting with is truly holy, or is it a spirit in disguise of a holy being. There is no way for us to cross-check. And the thing is that this quote-unquote holy being has been teaching her for decades on how to increase her psychic powers, how to do energy healing, and it works. And she goes on a world tour writing books and healing people, and there were people who would actually say, yes, I am healed, and they themselves learn these techniques, and it actually works. You see, so that's the danger. That's the danger, and that's why Rinpoche said, JP, if you really want to help, later, that if the opportunity arises, then there will be ways of helping people, but we have to do it with a qualified master. That means with a human. Yeah, with a qualified human, and not with a deity that you can see or that you can sense. Okay, so I think that's about it. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm so glad, Pastor, for you to join us tonight. If you're free next week, hopefully we'll continue this, because I haven't even asked you your other exciting experiences, right? So do tune in, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.